So this is the Kia e-Niro. Now, hard to distinguish a little bit from the Niro, which is a little bit strange. When you look at it, it's not very, electric car shouty about the whole thing. You just get some sort of blue accent here and there, just around the front, and some fake vents on the back and things. Nothing really terrible. You do notice that there's a completely closed in front grille, and the windshield wipers have changed shape a little bit just to allow aerodynamics to take place. So other than that, there's very little difference between it and a Niro, other than it is zero CO2 emissions, or any emissions for that matter, while driving. So as the quest continues for the longest range battery, Kia has entered the race properly with two cars that can go at least 350 to 450 kilometers with relative ease. Problems come when you try and charge it at home, of course. 7.4 kilowatt charger, which is the EV box one, fairly standard, but that still is going to take a good 8-9 hours to charge it from full or from empty. And if you're using a 3-pin plug adapter, which is one in the boot of this, that's going to take you well in excess of 20 hours to charge this car. So you're talking about 29, maybe 28 hours to charge a car of its size. So electric cars are part of a future, but we still have issues with charging and whether I can get to a charge point. And often charge points are still full when I get there. Drove to Mullingar yesterday, got to a charge point instantaneously. What was already there? 2 Nissan Leafs standing there waiting, charging at that point. I couldn't charge, I had to wait. Still only a 7.4 kilowatt charger though, so I couldn't charge very fast anyway. Big batteries means you can go much further. It means I only charged the car once this week, and I didn't even need to do that. And today I still haven't charged it this morning. I'm not going to charge it, it's going back today. So while the Kia e-Soul definitely gets my vote as the car that I would desire most in the EV range, the Kia e-Niro is actually a small bit more practical. We're going to find out why, so hit the subscribe button, settle back, let's get a cup of tea and have a look on the inside, right? Make sure you hit the subscribe button. So the e-Niro, you can hear that good thick thud that happened there a second ago. Kia used to have terrible steering wheels. Remember that one with it was all weighted down the bottom and it was kind of weird. Now they've improved it, so it's actually a nice steering wheel to hold these days. It doesn't feel weighted either direction, it just sits there calmly, just getting on with its job. I like that. We have a set of controls over this side here, which allows you to turn on and off the timed charging, so you can charge at certain times. If you've got a night meter, you can charge this after midnight. So you can set the timers in the car to only start charging when the night meter becomes active. So you can do that. If you haven't got a night meter, it's irrelevant. It's the same charge all day long. Don't forget there's a standing charge, a slight bit extra standing charge on a night meter over a standard meter, right? So you do pay a little bit more to have the meter in your house as a night meter. Standing charge, not more money, right? So for getting charges, there's other stuff there. VESS is to turn off the noise this makes up to about 18 to 20 kilometers an hour. It makes a sort of a UFO sound. That's to warn pedestrians that you're in the area. It's necessary. Moving across here, there's a dashboard that has all digital readout. There is physical circles, but it's all digital readout. There's 2 air vents either side. Now just give Kia a little demerit point here. This air vent on this side, when you put this on auto, that permanently blows cold air onto your hand or onto your face or onto your knee. You have to turn it off. It's freezing cold. Honest to God, it's just, I just turned off the vents. The first time I've ever had to do that. So it's whatever angle it's coming out at, it just seems to blow cold air at you all the time. Power button is beneath that, turn it on. Then you have physical controls for, oh good, the knobs are here. T-shirts, merch available, says bring back knobs. Knobs are here for the heating controls, which are great. Then above that you have physical knobs again for the touchscreen, radio, media stuff. So even if you're not into the whole touchscreen thing, you can still access all of your controls right here. Over this side you got a glove box, which is literally full of manuals. It's the thickest car navigation, or thickest owner's manual I've ever seen. And that's just, this owner's manual is just for that. It's just about the entertainment system. It's gigantic, Kia. Seriously, do we really need this today? Could you not give people a PDF? It saves the paper, save the planet. Now, below that, I have the most useful little shelf in here. It takes a big phone, no problem, has a USB port in the front, has another USB port beside that. The difference between the two, one of them runs Apple CarPlay, the other one is just purely charging. And there's a 12 volt socket on the far side. Also, this is a wireless charging tray, so if you've got a wireless charger on your phone, you can use this to charge your phone up with. Beneath that is a really useful sort of a big bin down here, which is very smart. Coming back to this point here, you have this kind of a floating console, which is the gear shifting, which allows you just to turn the knob for whatever gear. Reverse neutral drive, park is in the middle, parking brake is on this side. You've got heated seats on both sides, heated steering wheel to go with it as well, then drive mode, which we get into when we're driving. Behind that is a big cubby hole with 2 cup holders, easy hold one of these, hold a 1 litre bottle of water as well. They're able to kind of glide in and out, you press a button and they come out. And behind that is another cubby hole with my sunglasses holder in it, and another USB port for charging stuff back here. You are really well catered for up front. You have actually got 3 USB ports up here, 2 there, 1 in that thing, that's up the front for the car. So the front of the car wins every time. Now, let's have a look at the active infotainment system. There's a lot of bongs, Kia. There's music and there's bongs and there's all kinds of things going off there when you start the car. Really is very frustrating. Couldn't we get rid of those bongs? Not talking back to Kia, Group Kia. Get rid of the bongs. There's just too many of them. I'm okay with the music starting up, but does it have to go bong, bong, bong? Anyway, right. Kia's infotainment system is the first thing you see, which is very good. You've got a sat-nav built in already. Now it doesn't pinch to zoom, so you can't zoom in and out on the Kia sat-nav. You can only move it around a bit, right? So you can select your location like that, but you can't zoom it. So you have to go into the other bit there. There is some way of zooming that, I don't know, just whatever it is. You can't just pinch like you would instantaneously. Radio media is here, so that's pretty straightforward. You just click into that and do what you want. Beside that is all menus, which takes you to a bigger screen, which shows you every possible menu you can have, including the climate control, which is available as a touchscreen. All the modern electric cars are a fairly clever thing. They shut off the air conditioning in every other part of the car apart from the driver when those seatbelts aren't closed. So it's worth remembering that it's driver only, so it tries to save energy by doing that. Then you have a very interesting EV menu, which tells you your information as to how far you've got left in your charge, so 62% have currently, your departure time, which you can set, eco driving tells you how much CO2 you're saving, and then you have this really cool little map here that tells you how far you can go at your current range. So you can use that to figure out how far you're able to go. Right now I can probably just about make Cardiff from here if we had a bridge to Wales. I could definitely make Belfast, so our lads in the north will be able to get there. No problem. I might even be able to make Stranraer if I really tried hard enough on my current range, which is 272 kilometers at 60-something%. That goes up and down depending on how you drive it. Also, this has resistance, so you can change the resistance of how much energy it draws back out of deceleration. It's pretty good. I've left it mostly in the drive mode of normal, and I tell you why, because normal makes the car decide what's happening. So the car gives you more resistance, less resistance. The active cruise control cuts in, does the resistance thing. Very clever. I just left it in auto, just normal mode, and left it alone. I didn't really get into those sort of sport mode and things as well, but yeah, who cares about those sort of things. Anyway, right, let's have a look and see if the car starts to go downhill the further back you get. That's a trick of what's coming up. Right, hit the subscribe button, let's go. Right, back seat. So, room-wise, no problem. Look how much space I have between me and the seat in front of me. My fists easily fit. Now, this is where it all starts to go downhill from here on out. So, it's dark. I'll say that for straight off. All of the lighting is done on halogen bulbs, which is very weird. I don't know why they're not LEDs. You're trying to save energy, right? There is no charging back here whatsoever. There's no plugs, no nothing. There's 2 vents that I can turn on or off. I have no control over them whatsoever. I do have nets back here, which are pretty good. And I have a tiny door pocket that can take a bottle. That's the end of your door pockets. Would fit, yeah, it'd be squeezing off now to fit 3 people across here. You will fit 2 ISOFIX type car seats. You won't fit an adult between those 2 car seats. They're quite tucked in. And the ISOFIX connectors are quite heavily tucked away in this as well. They can be a little bit finicky to get your finger into. You do get an armrest in the center, or an Ella as my kids call it. It's got 2 cup holders in it. No loader to go through here, so no long items coming through with the 2 seats in place. That's an oversight, I think. I'd prefer to see that sort of stuff being put into the car first. And I've just noticed something. Hold on. God, that's satisfying when they leave the little bits of plastic on the car. It's just like, put that back up there for the moment. So, you can drop the seats pretty straightforward. Just click a little switch up here and that seat falls forward, and this one is the same. It's 60 on this side, 40 on that side, and they go back up just as easy. The armrests are here as well. All in all, it's a back seat. You will definitely get 2 comfortable adults back here, 3 at a bit of a squeeze, but they'll have no way of charging their phones, and they've no air conditioning vents. They can just have to turn it off. You do get a grab handle up here and a coat hook, and that's about it. Don't carry any equipment back here. Right, let's have a look at the boot. Yeah, the boot is, well, it's actually a very strong point from size wise. It's very big. You're going to fit everything you need into this boot easily. It absolutely murders the Hyundai version, the Kona, on boot space by miles. It's bigger than the Soul as well by miles. This does have a tonneau cover, or a, you know, cargo net or cargo cover. I think tonneau cover is correct actually, that you can take out. Now, this is easy enough to take away, but it does actually have a space under here to put it into as well. You can put it in there. Would you believe that? That's the best thing ever, Kia. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to put it back in. There is some storage underneath the floor here for everything you possibly need. And the boot itself is a large lump of a thing, and you can fit all the stuff in you want to. In here I have my charging cable, which is my normal up to 22 kilowatt ish charging cable, and this one is the granny cable. I've lots of stuff in here today, hold on now. So my little granny cable is one we call this a granny cable in Ireland. This puts the standard charger on the front of the car down to a 3-pin plug. This is going to take 28 hours to charge your car from empty. You know, if you had to, I get it, but you're going to need a home charge point with this car because it's got a gigantic battery, and you're never going to get the best of it if you've only got a 3-pin plug to do that with. Okay, and yeah, that fits in your boot there, and you have the full proper charging cable. You have plenty of space in here, but I'm going to give it the worst demerit point I can give it. I can't believe I'm saying this again. There's no shopping bag hooks. Come on, this is 2019. I got my way with knobs coming back. I got my way with anti-touch screen stuff. Now I have to get my way with shopping bag hooks. I'm not going to put them in myself. I'm not going on the hardware store to buy €2 yoke, stick them here. They're genius, they're brilliant, they work every time. Costs nothing to put them in the boot. It's a shame that they're not here. It's the only demerit point on that boot space. Everything else, underfloor and all that, is absolutely brilliant. Right, after all that, nothing much to distinguish it on the back of a normal Niro, by the way, other than it just says electric here, and it has little blue things. That's it. But other than that, let's go for a drive. Involves music and bongs and things. But anyway, besides the music and bongs, forgot to mention this does actually have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built in as standard, and it works perfectly on the Bluetooth, on the touchscreen. Now, one thing I do love about electric cars is that ability to give you all of the torque instantaneously. So you put your foot down, like off she goes. It's lovely, but it's really because there's no gearbox. There's no differential gearbox things that are just slowing down the transmission of power from the engine directly to the wheels. They're just basically connected up. And again, with the gear shifter here, which is a lovely little bit, that little wheel in the center, it isn't really a gear shifter. So it's drive, which just spins forward, and then reverse, which spins the same gear backwards, and neutral just disengages the drive from the engine. So it's all pretty straightforward. Very little to go wrong, even though Kia have a 7-year warranty as standard on all of their cars, so it's included in this one. Now, always You could be watching this video at any point, so be careful. Check your details on your warranty as to what your warranty information is today, okay? May not be the same in 5 or 6 or 8 years' time. Don't know. To drive, realistically, electric cars aren't brilliant. Probably the best one to drive, feeling of driving, is the Jaguar I-Pace, followed by something like the Audi e-tron. Model S is pretty good. Model X is a bit wishy-washy, but it's okay. So you see where I'm going with that? At that end of the scale, they're not great to drive anyway. So at this end of the scale, which is half the price really and more of a, say, Jaguar I-Pace, you're not going to expect to get, you know, response, but it still has to be a bloody good 5-door hatchback. That's where it actually wins. This is probably slightly better to use as a 5-door hatch than the Kia e-Soul, slightly, but I prefer the looks of the e-Soul. I think the looks on this is a bit too Niro, a bit too normal. I prefer that kind of, I like something a little bit more unusual, so I'd go with the e-Soul. Not because it shouts louder about being an EV, just because it looks a bit more tasty, and that's what I really like. What this lacks in all-out grunt, and don't forget, this is 200 brake horsepower. This isn't a slouch by any means, right? But it kind of can't keep up with itself. So when you're in a corner and you turn in for the corner, if you nail that accelerator halfway through, the car will just scrabble like a lunatic looking to try and get power down to the wheels, because electric cars are set up for efficiency. They're not really set up for power. If they were set up for power, you wouldn't go as far. That's the difference between this and other electric cars. So where are we in the electric race? Well, we're not there yet. We still haven't had the October 2019 budget from the government, who seem blinded by the idea of electric cars or anything to do with electric future. We still don't know what the supply chain is going to be like. We still don't know who's going to put out the most amount of electric batteries. There's so many if, ands and buts. I still can't tell you outright to buy an electric car. There's no way I can say that today, because right now we don't know where diesel's going, we don't know where petrol's going, we haven't a clue. And people out there who think they do know, really they don't. No one knows, because we've had breakthroughs and investments of money, and we have huge factories that pump out diesel engines every day, highly efficient ones. They're not as efficient. This is always going to put out less CO2 because it doesn't have an internal combustion engine in the first place. And electric's very efficient, but we are putting all our eggs in one basket. We are saying to the ESB, yes, you take charge of our driving infrastructure entirely. Yesterday I pulled up at a charge point, full. 2 EVs sitting there already charging ahead of me. This morning I zoomed by 2 fast charge points, 2 of them, both of them engaged, so I couldn't get a fast charge either. Again, this doesn't charge very quickly because it's a massive battery, so if you plug this in and a fast charge point at 55 kilowatt hours, that 80% mark is going to come more like 40 to 45 minutes, not the 20-minute mark like you always promised. It just doesn't happen, folks. In the real world, none of this really happens. Now, I'm going to be critical here of electric cars, not because I love ICE engines, but because I hate, at the moment, the ones that are shouting the loudest are the EV owners, the ones that are shouting the most, and the car companies are responding and are pumping out electric cars, when in actual fact what they're doing is abandoning people to either buy an electric or don't buy a car. And that's not fair. Not everyone can make electric work. And in fairness, not everyone wants to make electric work. There's people out there who are quite happy to tootle about in their little 1-litre petrol, in and out to the shops, in and out to the school, and that's all they want to do. They have no interest whatsoever in having an electric car, neither can they afford to change over an electric car. Don't forget, the majority of these electric cars, without the benefits and discounts and everything else thrown on top of them, are anywhere between 30 and 50,000 euro, and then you're into nearly 100 grand for a Model S. Model 3 is up at 70, 75, God knows. The price is gigantic. The jump for people to go from a used 2007 1-litre petrol Nissan Micra thingamajig or whatever it is to get into this, that's a big jump, lads. That's a big jump. Anyway, off my high horse for a second and just look at the Kia e-Niro. This is an outstanding car, really is. Same as the e-Soul. They are just outstandingly well made. They have a really good range on them, but I would prefer the e-Soul. I like the infotainment system in the e-Soul. I love that split screen that was in there in the middle of it. I do find the active lane keeping thing is a little bit too severe in this. It does go, you can turn it off, but it's just there. Just press a button, it's off, and you can do whatever you want after that. And the active cruise control works very well. Like I said, the majority of you just stick this drive mode in normal and let it off. And that's exactly what I've done as well. Normal works just fine. Look at. Cheers for watching this far in. Hopefully I have entertained you and educated you and turned you on maybe towards a Kia e-Soul. With any luck, you've hit the subscribe button at some point. There is merchandise available in the shop. There is support features down below. If you want to support the channel in that respect too, you can. It's always massively appreciated. I'm going to be running some competitions later on in the year through Patreon. So if you want to do that or Patreon, just click the link down below to Patreon and it'll take you over there. You can have a look at it. Hopefully you've learned all you need to know about the e-Soul for the moment, and you will subscribe to learn more about electric cars that are coming this year. But until the next time, I will see you on the far side.